What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel for another very exciting video of Hunting the Fish podcast. I decided that I was going to head out north a little ways today, and unfortunately we came to another very small location. My next two locations, or should I say my last two locations in Tioga County are going to be as small, but hopefully I can make next week and the week after's videos just as unique as the rest of them, being as both are in very small areas. There's not a lot to not only talk about, but there's not a lot to explore. However, the place that we have come to today has a lot of sights, and actually has a little bit more than most people think. The area that we have decided to come to today is the village of Spencer. It is located in the town of Spencer, and as of the 2020 census, the village only had a population of 719. It was settled in 1794 and was incorporated in 1886. And is named after town judge Ambrose Spencer. The village and the town of Spencer are governed by, obviously, the town of Spencer, and they are located within the Spencer Van Etten School District. Doing some historical research before I started this video, I have noted that the town of Spencer is also part of the town. I think the town of Spencer and the town of Van Etten are two separate entities. However, because of the very small size of both locations, they decided to merge the two school districts. And the Spencer Van Etten Middle and High School is actually outside of town. And I believe the elementary school is right across the way from where I'm sitting. I came to Spencer quite a while ago, shortly after I got my first car. At the recommendation, well, not necessarily out of a recommendation, but more of a suggestion from an old coworker. Obviously, when I worked at KFC, my son was just a kid, and I was thinking of all the places that I could go to that he would like to go and, just, I guess you could say, hang out. And of course, that was also around the time that I was playing Pokemon Go, and this was one of the locations that I ended up to play Pokemon Go quite frequently. Now, I'm gonna try to go around the village as much as possible. From what I remember being out here, there is quite a bit to walk around. But I'm not worried about that because I have a couple hours before I have to head back. So we're going to start here in the place that they call Nichols Park and Lake. And yes, I said that correctly. There is a lake in the middle of the village. The first thing I noticed even though it was like 2.5, 3 years ago, about this village is the fact that they have a lake in the middle of the village. And it is probably the most beautifulest thing I have ever seen. Just because of, I guess you'd say, its beauty. I'll show you guys the lake real quick, and then we'll start walking down towards, I guess you could say, our destination. Forgive me if I cringe a little bit, but the water kind of blows back with the wind blowing and kind of creates a little bit of a gust. Look at that lake. That is the fountain in the middle of the lake. Now, luckily for me, I don't feel like testing the waters, quite literally, just because of the fact that it's September, it is pretty cold, and no thanks. But just looking at this lake is beautiful, like the whole thing. The fountain in the middle, the crystal, well, I can't say crystal clear water because it is kind of dirty, but just the lake in general is phenomenal. You know, just because of where it's at and, you know, its significance to the town. Now, unfortunately, I don't know anything about this park or lake, but what I do know is that around, this lake actually goes all the way around the village, and they actually have, I think, 13 historical markers set up on the edge of the water talking about the history of the village and the history of the town as you walk around the park. Now, mind you, this isn't the only, how do I want to say, the only attraction in the village, as we'll see as I'm walking and, you know, immersing myself in the rest of the area. So we're actually gonna walk away from the park, and we're actually gonna go down a way that I haven't gone. I would say in the last 2.5, 3 years, I've been out here to Spencer maybe 3 times, which is ironic because that means I've been out here 1 time every year. And the reason that is because, like I've mentioned in all my previous videos, it's not the fact, excuse me, it's not the fact that I don't travel. It's just the fact that with me working and with having very minimal time to actually do stuff, it's very hard for me to actually go places. But this is one of the locations, I guess you could say, that I have frequented quite often. And over the next maybe hour or so, I'm actually going to take you guys around, and we are going to immerse ourselves in the attractions, the scenery, and the majestic beauty that is Spencer. Now, I'm going to go this way because I know this road a little ways. But we're going to start here on the corner, and we're going to work our way down and then back around, and we're going to end up back here by the at the park. So where we are right now is the corner of Main Street and Owego Street. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned this in my previous videos, but a lot of the places that I've been to in Tioga County, ironically, all have a place called Owego Street. Montour Falls has one, Richford has one, Spencer has one, Candor has one, Ithaca has 2, and obviously Owego has an Owego Street. Which just goes to show that even though they're so far away from Owego, they have a way to connect to the heart of Tioga County, which I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but I guess you could say the center of Tioga County is Owego, which is probably why all those places have an Owego Street. Our first attraction is over here on my right. This is Donna's Styling Salon, and of course, being as it's Sunday, they are closed. It appears to be a very old house that was turned into a beauty salon, and I'm not sure, but I would go out on a limb and say the person that owns it probably lives here too, because why wouldn't they? Otherwise, they just, maintain the house. But I'm pretty sure somebody actually lives in this building. Let's see. I guess we could do that. Over here on my left, we have an apartment complex. I'm not sure the name of it, but the reason I say that it's an apartment complex is because of the obvious fact that there are cars piled up in the parking lot, and there's also a playground, which is, ironic. If it was anything else, then why would there be a playground there? I believe, if memory serves me correctly, that this apartment complex at one time was one of the elementary schools out here in Tioga County. About a year or so ago, I went to the library when they had the old schoolhouse display, and I'm pretty sure that particular place was one of them. Being as it was so long ago, I don't remember if it's true or not, but that's pretty cool. I mean, I stated in one of my previous videos that the only thing they can do with old schoolhouses is turn them into apartments. And an old neighbor of mine actually it texted me and said the reason why they turn old schools into apartments is because it saves the towns and counties money, and they're already pretty much furnished. Over here on my left, since we're going down this way and coming back around, I'll do like left and right as I notice stuff that stands out. But over here on my left, we have the Allen Manzer Funeral Home. Not surprising that a place like this would have a funeral home, but at the same time, it's neat because it's next to an apartment complex, and also next to the park and the lake. So they got that going for them. Over here is probably one of the most beautiful houses I've ever seen. And I hope to the great guy upstairs that whoever lives here has a ton of money. Either that or this is an apartment, because wow, that is a very nice house. Kind of like the one across the street, which you can't really see through the trees, so I'm going to back up a little bit and I'll show you guys this one too. That's a really nice house too. That one actually looks like, because of the steeple on top, that it used to be a church at some point, and then the steeple was demolished and it was turned into a house. But another reason for me to go out and research. This blue one that I just showed you guys has the same ordeal, but they're missing the steeple, which is pretty cool, I think. Over here, now this is kind of funny because this house actually is an apartment, which you can obviously tell by the fact that it says 63A and 63B. I guess this one here has a building permit on it, which probably means nobody lives there because it's being fixed up. The other one, however, obviously is occupied. So, you know, it's be nice to see somebody get in there. And speaking of nice houses, you've also got this one over here on my left, which, holy crap, that place looks... I hope these people have a lot of money, because those houses, my goodness, I couldn't afford something like that anytime soon. Over here on my right, we've got just a normal house. It's actually a pretty big one. It's got its own garage, and it's got a driveway. You know, obviously where the people probably either work or, you know, store their cars. And then over here on the left again, we have the Spencer Federated Church. And it says ministering since 1819, I believe. Which is almost, well, actually is 205 years. Wow. Look at though. I mean, not the most majestic church that I've ever seen, but just the building of the church itself, absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I've mentioned in a couple of my previous videos that the churches, 9 times out of 10, well, actually I should say 7.5 times out of 10, were either built the way that they looked or were former houses of historic people that lived in the area. I have yet to come across a church that used to be a house, but I know that they are out there. Not in this area though, but you know. Down here a little ways, we've got East Hill Road, which is the site of a 1-lane bridge, which is actually pretty fascinating because for a place that is so small, it's hard to believe that 1-lane bridges still exist. You would think that all the advancements in technology and you know, construction progresses throughout the years, they would widen the road and make it 2-lane, but not out here. Tioga County itself actually has, I think, 4 or 5 different roads, maybe more than that, that actually have 1-lane bridges on them because of the fact that the area of the road is so small. And obviously the historical significance of the 1-lane road or 1-lane bridge has been kept to preserve the history of the area. In front of me here is the First Presbyterian Church. Obviously there's a historic marker in the church itself. Once again, those beautiful stained glass. The sign says First Presbyterian Church has been placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 2005 by the United States Department of the Interior, by the William G. Pomeroy Foundation in 2014. Which is pretty cool. I love being as much of a history buff that I am when places are put on the National Register of Historic Places, because that means people like me can go back and I don't even have to go to the place where they're at. I can look it up on Wikipedia or Google or something, and I can be like, oh, this house is beautiful, you know, let's go check that out sometime. I think we're gonna walk a little ways up. See what time it is. 24 after. We're gonna continue our journey, just because I see a couple more attractions down here. Nice yellow house, really big house, but also very beautiful. you can definitely tell that the people that live here take care of, you know, their house. Got another house down here. Like I said, there seems to be a lot of houses, and I don't know if they're all houses or if they're apartments and houses or what, but they're just phenomenal to look at. And speaking of phenomenal, look at that. That is a beautiful house, and you could tell that that house is old, like very old. At least 1800s, at least. This house over here, probably not so much, maybe like 90s, 2000, early 2000s. So we got that street. And that goes down and around. I might actually have to walk back around. Like I said, I've never been down here. But I guess we'll keep going. Here's another really historic looking house. Place is pretty cool. Looks like an old mansion. Maybe it is. Or maybe it's just somebody wanted their house built that way. Over here on my left, you've got one of the local cemeteries in the area. As far as I know, Spencer has 3 cemeteries, all 3 of which are pretty much in this area. This being the first one, and the other 2 being over by the elementary school. Pretty nice house back there. Let's see. There's a pretty nice place. Oh, I like that color. Looks like it's being worked on though. See if we can get a close-up of it. So this house, as I stated, is currently being worked on. It looks like they're doing some renovations to the porch. But what I like most about it, I don't know if you guys can tell in the video, is the fact that it's a very, very dark, it's not a dark blue, it's almost, well, I guess you could say it's a dark blue, but it's a beautiful dark blue. And obviously blue is my favorite color. Really, I'm attracted to that house. Over here on the left, we have a place called the Bishop's Inn. Now, being as I don't really know that much about the area, I don't know what the place is. It looks like an old store of some kind, but it doesn't appear to be functional. I think I'm going to turn and go down, because it doesn't look like there's anything else down this way. From where I'm standing, I could see a house for sale, and then there's a field of some kind. But other than that, it doesn't look like there's anything noteworthy down that way. Maybe one of these days, if I get the chance to go for a drive, I'll actually go all the way down the road and then see what else is down there. I do know that if you head down this road, because this is Main Street, I think you get to one of the other sides of Ithaca going down this road, but I've never been down that way, so I'm gonna have to put that on my to-do list. I can actually show you guys this place, the Bishop's Inn. As I said, I don't know anything about this place, but I can tell you that they've got a nice little gate here, and what looks to be a former patio area slash maybe a dining area. And it looks like there is a set of stairs for 2 apartments. Let's see. And there's a sign that says, on this site in 1897, nothing happened. I always like those signs because they're comedic. This looks like a little diner, I guess you would say. Or maybe it's a museum of some kind. George Herman Ruth, also known as Babe Ruth. It's a nice picture. I'll have to do some research at some point and see if I can't find out any information about this place. And then, let you guys know what I discover. So we are actually going to go right down this road, which is known as Liberty Street. But first, we're going to walk over here and we are going to check out this gigantic stone. And it says, to the honor and glory of the soldiers of the Revolution buried in Spencer, New York. Reverently placed by the Spencer Daughters of the American Revolution. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 names on here. But I can guarantee you there is more than 11 grave sites, just by the number that I can count. So yeah, we're gonna walk down Liberty Street, see how far we can make it down here, and then we're going to try to turn around and explore the rest of the village. Can't wait to shave tonight. Face is itchy. Now, unfortunately for me, much like my personal life, these videos don't get any comments, just because I'm not that much out there. But if they did, I would probably say to you guys, what places would you like me to do after this video? And, where else do you want me to explore? Because I actually came up with an idea a couple days ago, but I don't think I'm actually going to do it, just because of the fact that the colder weather is coming, and I don't really want to I don't want to be out in the cold, especially with having Damien coming home soon. So these next 2 videos that I'm going to be doing might be my last for the year, and then maybe we will pick up the series once the warmer weather comes back. So basically, we might be going into hibernation, and then coming back around like April or May to do a few more videos for you, depending on how everything goes between now and then. This street doesn't look like it has anything significant down it. I mean, it's got a couple of very small but nice looking houses, and it also has not a lot of historical significance to the area. However, if I was to do... Oh, wait a second. There's something right there. The sign on the door says Barker Schoolhouse, District Number 4, Spencer, New York, from 1800 to 1816. Interesting. So apparently that place was an old schoolhouse. Give you guys a quick picture of it. Doesn't really look like a schoolhouse, but then again, it is over 200 and some odd years old, so maybe that's why. But that's cool. I like that. Do, do, do. It's really quiet down here, except for the obnoxious dogs barking, which that's a given. It's a porch over there. That's the type of porch that I wish I had. Not necessarily enclosed, but like covered and with plenty of seating that you could sit outside. Or maybe a house like this with an open entry and a ginormous 2-car garage. See, my thing is I have that ambition to want to own my own house. It's just for some unknown reason, I lack the resources of being able to own my own house. I'd love to be able to figure out what those things that I lack are, but I can't really, say because I don't know. Hello. This is another street down here known, I guess it's called Nichols Street, which, if I'm picturing correctly, is the other side of the park. We might actually go down that way, but I can see the railroad tracks from here, and I don't really feel like going down that way. So we might actually turn, go down this way, and then go back around the park if this road goes where I think it does. But first, we're going to stop and talk about this little gem. This is the Spencer Elderly Housing. I'm not going to really show you guys as there's people. Well, I will. It's a nice little ranch style housing development, which is because you would think that maybe it's an old school as well, but like I said, I don't really know, or should I say I don't really remember a lot of the area or a lot of the old schoolhouses in the area. So we have turned down Nichols Street, and we've got a fountain in their side yard. I want to say I remember this house from the last time I was walking around out here, but I don't. But look at this house. I love that window all the way up there, just because that screams I'm historical. And you don't very often see those circular windows on houses anymore. As a matter of fact, speaking of historical, this place doesn't look like it's lived in, but it looks like it's being remodeled at the moment for it to be lived in. Now, the one next door is definitely lived in, but they also have a garage, so maybe nobody's home. 31 and 32. It's a nice little house over there. Got a nice back porch. Well, there's the... Oh yeah, I do remember this area because I walked over here before. Remember how I said that there was 3 cemeteries out here? Well, this is the other one. And I believe even though this is 2 separate, it is actually one whole. This is known as the Evergreen Cemetery, and it was established in 1988, which was before the village was incorporated. So you know that this place has got a lot of history. And I believe it's about 3.5 acres worth of land back there that's just grave sites, which is pretty cool. That the town of Spencer decided to gift, well, actually not even the town, just New York State in general. That land probably belonged to somebody, and was left as a cemetery for, future generations to explore. This house is very blue and very pretty, and is again an ideal house of mine just because it's got a smaller porch but a lot of space. Not the fact that it's right by a cemetery, but I would be willing to ignore that just for the purposes. Do, 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 do. Now this building, I believe, is one of the elementary schools, which I believe it says around the back, but it's still a nice one. I mean, if you look at it, I wouldn't say that it was recently remodeled, but the last time, I think the second time that I was out here, I did see a lot of kids playing over on the playground. So this might be either the elementary school or the one of the daycare centers. There's a sign down there that says 1936. Still no indication of what this place actually is, so we might have to go around and find out. But it does look like a school. Maybe it is the elementary school, I'm not sure. We're actually gonna walk back, and we're gonna go down the other side, and then we're gonna go down around the street. These doors look pretty old. Maybe not. That door looks pretty new. And definitely tell it's Sunday because everybody's inside. Either that or it's too cold. For some reason, this particular day in September, it only got to 65 degrees or 66, I can't remember. But according to a news article, we are supposed to have a second summer over the months of September, October, and November, which is nice for me because obviously I love summertime. So maybe we will get to go out and do a couple more videos, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We found something. This is the backside of said school, and confirmed it is the Spencer Van Etten Middle School. It says main office and gymnasium, and it says Spencer Central School, and then it says Central School District Number 1, towns of Spencer and Barton, Tioga County, town of Van Etten, Chemung County. Okay. Apparently their mascot is a panther, the Spencer Van Etten Panthers. It's a nice school. So this is the middle school. Not quite sure where the elementary school is, unless the school is on the other side of the building. As far as I know, from what I've been around, in the area, I don't know if there's another school in the area, so this might be the middle and elementary school. And like I stated when I started the video, the high school is actually outside of town because it's the two. It's the Spencer Van Etten High School. Let's see. What's this? site of Spencer High School in operation. Ooh, looks pretty cool. So this is the site of the Spencer High School, which was in operation from 1906 to 1937, and it was razed, which means it was taken down in 1969, and the memorial was given by the alumni in 1982. So this also used to be the site of the high school, which is kind of weird because I feel like if this actually was the site of the high school, it was pretty small. Over there you got a sign for the Nichols Park. The actual, well, I can't say the actual park because the park is all of the lake and is also this basketball court, and then there's an actual park area, which we're actually gonna go to, because now that I remember, there is an area that you can walk around, and it actually goes back to the other side of the village. So instead of my normal plan of walking all the way down whatever street this is here, we're actually going to go walk through the park, and then we're going to come out on the other side, and then we're going to circle back around and continue our journey. So back at the beginning of the video, when I started walking, I stated that there was actually I guess you could say like a walking trail that goes all the way around the lake. And I didn't know that the first time I came out here, that the trail actually went all the way around the lake, because I had only walked out to about the beginning of it, and then I headed back. Come to find out, like I said, this trail actually walks all the way around the lake, and then there's a section down here, the other side of the park, that actually goes around the woods and then goes back to the other side of the lake. It's not as majestic, in my opinion, of the rest of the park, because from this side you can't really see the fountain, but it's still peaceful nonetheless, because it's quiet, it's got a little bit of shade to it, and it's got your normal park, I guess you could call it, accessories that you would find in a normal nature area. You got kid swings over here. You got a couple picnic tables. Obviously, you've got the restrooms that I believe are closed for the season, which is interesting because I hope nobody has to go to the bathroom, because if they do, they are SOL. You have the baseball field, obviously for the elementary, I believe it's for the elementary school kids. But it might also be for community use as well. There's another picnic area over here that has a lot more picnic tables, and there's a couple of outdoor picnic areas next to the horseshoe pits. A couple benches. I noticed a couple of them have memorial signs on them, one of which I don't feel like walking over and reading, but this one that I'm next to, I'm gonna look. David Belair, for faithful service in our community, Spencer Candor Lions Club. Okay, and then there's a little show tent over there for the Chamber of Commerce. Nichols Park. So I guess this is, like I said, this is more of the park. Obviously, daily hours dawn until dusk, unauthorized use, blah, blah, blah. Violator is prosecuted. So this is a pretty nice area Obviously, you've got the bleachers, which smartly they have locked up when school isn't in session so that nobody's going over in there and vandalizing it. And then, of course, you got the baseball field, home of the Panthers. There's a person on it named James Cronkite. I wonder if it's any relation to Walter. If you don't get that, you should probably go back to history class. But it's a very nice park for such a small area. The pavilion that I mentioned a little bit ago is the Jeanette McCaskill Pavilion, dedicated in April of 2003. So 21 years ago. That's a long time ago. I wasn't even out of school yet. I was 11. Ugh. Hard to say that. Kind of showing my age a little bit, but you know, kind of stuff happens, I guess. So we're walking down the end of the road. Now, the weird thing about this particular park, Nichols Park, is the road that I'm on appears to be the driving road. So this is where you can drive into the park, and you can park your car either over by the school, or you can just go through the park and go out the other side. Not many small parks have this. And what's also interesting about it is, now that I've done my walking, this park actually is a bit of, I guess you could say, history. It is dedicated as a, this historical marker here says John Avery Nichols, 1807 to 1885, laid out plans for this park in 1862. The land was purchased by Village of Spencer in 1919 to create a public park. That was very nice of him. Because to be honest, if it wasn't for him, I don't think there would be this park here. But yeah, that is very nice. I would say that this park is about maybe 1.5 acres to 2 acres. But like I said, the fountain, the walking trail that they have, obviously the attachment to the middle school, and the picnic area makes for a phenomenal park. And obviously, it's not the only park in Tioga County that is dedicated to somebody within the area. Because in Owego, we have Marvin Park, which is dedicated to Charles Marvin, who basically did the same thing. He took a piece of land, gave it to the village of Owego, and said, make this into a park. And that's basically what they did. And when they did that, I don't think they intended it for the Tioga County Fair, but lo and behold, that's what it's for. Now, walking down this street, I just read a mailbox that says this is Park Street, which I find ironic because we are at the north end of Nichols Park. So I guess I can't say it's ironic, but at the same time, it makes sense for the village for this particular street to be named as such because of the area. So we're coming up on the intersection of 96 and Park Street. Got to be a little bit careful because it doesn't look like there's any sidewalks out here, but we'll still take it easy. Oh, so this is called Tioga Street. Okay. This looks like a pretty interesting building. It says church parking only. So I'm guessing this is a church. It's a pretty big one. Maybe it's one of the smaller ones in the area. I am so fascinated by the fact that all of these villages that I've been to within the towns that they're associated with have so many churches. I mean, Spencer has, I've already seen 4. And I think this is the 4th one. I don't know what church this is, but I think I'm gonna walk a little bit over and find out. So it says this is a church, a gathering. Looks like one of those flat churches. Oh, it does say it. It's just really faded. This is the Faith Bible Chapel. And just like every other church in history, they have Bible study on Sundays. And it looks like they also have prayer meetings and Bible studies at nighttime on Sundays. So it looks like they only have Sunday services. In the beginning of the video, I mentioned that Spencer, sorry, I'm not really able to talk. Spencer Van Etten High School, this road here, if you go about 1.5 miles up the road and then go around that corner, you actually see the village of Van Etten. And the school is actually on the other side of the sign. There's quite a bit more out there, but just for the purpose of this video, we aren't going to go out that way. Maybe if the weather proves to hold up and all of its niceness for the next couple months, I might do like little areas that I haven't really covered, just because of the fact that gotta keep giving you guys more content before I actually go into hibernation. So this other building over here that I mentioned to a couple of minutes ago is actually the Frontier of Spencer, which is pretty interesting because I guess this is their cable and internet company. I'm pretty positive, though, that Spectrum does come out here because of the fact that they are so close to Ithaca, and there is an Ithacan, I guess you could say, location like 15 miles outside of town that services this area. Got a house that looks like it needs some fresh paint, and you got an apartment that also needs some retouching, and then you got this place. That is a very beautiful literal stone house. I wouldn't mind owning something that looked like that, but I wonder how they keep it warm on the inside. Now, earlier, I mentioned, actually a couple minutes ago, I mentioned that Nichols Park has a walking trail. This right here is one of the exits of the walking trail. However, this is not the end of the road, because there is a path that goes back into the park and then goes back around the other side of the lake. for the purpose of this video, I am not going to go that way because we are going to miss everything that is down here on Tioga Boulevard and the rest of the stuff at the beginning of Main Street that I passed by in order to walk around. Coming up here on my left, we have the, I guess you could say, the Village Hardware store, literally. The Spencer Auto Supply and Hardware. I don't know if it's actually a hardware store. I would say it's more of an auto supply store, but to each their own, I guess. They got a couple cars out here for sale. Probably nothing I'd ever buy. And then over here on my right, the Spencer EMS, which naturally, if you have to have some kind of, medical service in the area. Otherwise, you're kind of screwed if you break your leg and you can't get to the hospital, or somebody has a heart attack and you can't get to the hospital. You got to have some kind of medic be able to come and take care of you. It looks like the people that own the hardware store live in this house, or used to live in this house, evident by the fact that they got 2 cars or 3 cars in the front yard. And I don't think a random person would just let them park cars in their yard. At least I wouldn't. But, what do I know? I'm not important. That house looks like it needs a little touching up. Actually, it kind of looks empty, but I could be wrong. Same thing with that house. It's like it could use a paint job or something. What's up now? Ithaca is 15 miles that way. Okay, so like I thought, if you go down Main Street, you can actually get to one of the sides of Ithaca. For the purpose of, I don't want to do that. We're not actually going to go down that way though. Maybe I'll put it on like a road trip at some point, and maybe I'll do it at a later time. We got a deer over in the yard just kind of randomly eating, which is pretty cool. And then you got this very nice pillory house over there. I love those pillars. As I stated before, when you see those pillars, they say historic on them. And it actually looks like that might be an apartment, which is still pretty cool. Over here on my left, we have St. Paul's Lutheran Church. And by the looks of it, this is actually for sale. Again, we see the stained glass windows that are very historic, and you notice that the bell tower is missing, I think, unless it's on the other side of that door up there. But like I said, there is a sign right here that says it's for sale, and I wonder why a church is up for sale. The world may never know. Let's see. Another old house across the street. Now, if I'm guessing correctly, the house across the street and this house over here are actually both apartments. Well, hello to you too. Evident by the fact that one says 20, one says 18, and then there's a bunch of different mailboxes across the street for the 2 places. I, for one, like the fact that I can walk out on my porch and grab my mail and not have to go across the street, just because of the fact that my mail is not that important that I would risk crossing the street just to get it. Apparently there's a detour for Halbert Hollow Road. I have no idea where that is and don't feel like finding out. That's a pretty nice house. Oh, that's the other apartment, which is part of those mailboxes. Hello, puppers. Hello. Across the way here, we have a Tioga State Bank ATM, and also on the corner we have the actual Tioga State Bank. And then over here we have Crosby's gas station and pizzeria. I've actually been out here a couple times, and I will say that it's good to have a gas station. Sorry about that, a big truck went by. It's nice to have a gas station right here in town, because as you're coming through, whether you're going to Waverly or you're going back to Owego, it's nice to be able to stop, and if you need gas or refreshments or something, or you're even traveling farther, you have a place to do that. Over here on my right, there's actually a plot of land that is for sale to build to suit. I'm pretty sure that's been for sale for quite a while, but you know, what can you do? So I was incorrect a couple minutes ago. The building over here on the corner is not Tioga State Bank. It is the former location of Tioga State Bank. The actual Tioga State Bank is right over here. And what it looks like is, once upon a time, Tioga State Bank was in this building and then closed and built the new location across the street, which is good because that building looks extremely historical and also looks pretty empty. There's a sign up above the window that says MD Fisher, and as with places, I'm guessing that is the name of the architect who built the building. Also evident by the fact that there's a cornerstone with the initials MDF and it says 1877. So that's definitely, you know, something that that person can, well, obviously if it's 1877, that person is probably, but it's nice to, you know, see that that place had some use at one time and is now sitting as a historical monument. At least I hope that's what it's doing. Would I like to see it get some use? More than likely, but also I don't want to take away from the fact that it's a piece of history. Let's see. Coming back down Main Street, we have the Spencer Surefine Food Market. Now, I've actually been in there once. I don't know why I went in there, and I'm pretty sure it was just to look around, but they got some pretty good prices for groceries, which, you know, for a smaller village with a, how do I say, very minimal amount of people, kind of makes sense. Over here we have another historical landmark that says Spencer was the county seat from 1811 to 1822, and on this lot stood the old courthouse destroyed by fire in 1821, which is awesome because that means that Owego was not the original county seat. And I believe, if history serves me correctly, Owego was appointed the county seat in 1823, 2 years after the old courthouse was burnt down in a fire. Over here on my right, Another well, I guess you could call it a historic place, but we have the Parkview Pizzeria, which, as the name states, village pizza shop. If memory serves me very correctly, I have been to that pizza shop once, and I'm pretty sure it was to get some food, and I was not disappointed with their pizza. I stated that I would come back, and unfortunately I haven't. They do pizza, ice cream, wings, and subs. So basically they're like an Italian pizzeria for, the village, which is good because, like I said, when you come to a place like this, you want places to go, you want things to do, you want things to see. Speaking of places to do and places to go and things to do and places to see, we have the Village Barber Shop and Soul Good Massage and Muscle Therapy, located in this building here. Now, if I was a guessing man, I would actually go on a limb and say that at one time, this used to be the post office. Unfortunately, one place that I have not covered in this video is the post office. And that is because I don't know where it is. I have never seen the Spencer post office because most of the time I have stayed here in the village around the park and the main street. If memory serves me correctly, I think the post office is back up by the school, but I could be wrong. Now, the last place that we're going to cover on this video is actually... What's that? Oh, probably why I've never seen it. Okay, so someone just told me the post office is actually down Main Street, so I'm gonna have to go find that and do a little coverage of it. But anyway, the last building that we're going to cover in the village is probably the most significant. When you have a village that is very small, and I mean very small, population-wise and size-wise, you don't really have a lot of places to put things. Now, a couple minutes ago, I did cover the Spencer EMS service, and I also talked about the museum, which I don't think we got the chance to get to, but that's okay. This building across the street is the Village of Spencer Municipal Building. And it is historic in the fact that it is literally 3 buildings in one place. It is the library, it is the Chamber of Commerce, and it is also the fire department. When you think about it, the building doesn't look that big, but apparently it can hold 3 different buildings, so it must be, just a little cramped, if I say so myself, which, for a place like Tioga County, being cramped isn't necessarily a bad thing, but probably also isn't a good thing either. Now, we're back here at the park, and where we started, and I want to show you guys one last thing. This nice area over here is actually the other, I guess you could say, picnic area of the park. And I call it the picnic area because it's got these chairs here. It's got one lone table that I actually have sat at one time. And it's also got a dock, which for a lake, I'm not sure why it has a dock, because you can't go swimming. Hold on a second, I'm echoing. You can't go swimming in the lake, which is kind of obvious because there's no lifeguards. But I guess this particular dock, as I've seen in my previous moments of the area, this dock is for people who, during the summertime, like to sit here, look at the fountain, take pictures, dip their toes in the water, or just lay on the dock and enjoy the sun. Very nice as far as consideration, and very thoughtful of the gentleman who decided to donate this land to the village of Spencer for this purpose. Not only has he given the residents of the area something absolutely majestic to look at, but he's also given them an area to unwind at the end of the day. Now, the first time I came out here, I actually told myself a joke. I said, it's very convenient that you have the Nichols Park and Lake right across the street from the pizzeria, because if you are a person like me who doesn't live in the area, you can always come out here if you're on a road trip or something. Go over to the pizzeria, get yourself whatever kind of food you fancy, whether it be pizza, wings, sub, any kind of the Italian dishes that they have. And then if you don't want to go anywhere else, you can walk over here to the park, sit down at one of the many tables or one of the benches, and just watch the fountain. Just because. I would say that a place like Spencer, if not for the lake alone, has definitely earned its spot on my list of, places to explore. Now, in a personal note, I have nothing against the town or village of Spencer. Would I ever move here? Probably not. Just because of the fact that even though there is a lot to look at, there's quite a bit to do. Pretty sure I saw a sign for a fall festival in October. I don't know if it was here or if it was back in Candor, but I would need somewhere where there's a lot more to do, kind of like Owego, which is probably why I live there and not here. But regardless, that is all that we have for today's video. As I mentioned at the beginning, when I started walking, I have 2 more places that I have to go, that I would like to go before the end of the series. And the weather permitting, I'm hoping that I can go a couple more. As time goes on, I will keep you guys updated, and who knows, maybe you guys will see another video after these next 2, and maybe you won't. So until next time, see you on the next trip to the pond.